Welcome all.
Thank you.
We are a small group, but small can also work to our benefit. I hope all of you can think of an experience in your life where small really help foster a relationship and build a foundation. Is that what we're trying to do, is to share what began as a very small group of Muslims and Jews in the south suburbs of Chicago into what we have now described and call neighbors in faith. So we have nothing technologically overwhelming. It's all going to be by hand and person to person. So I want to, any of you looking for some high-tech presentation, this is not the time or place. Matter of fact, it would work against what we were about. I'm Brian Zockham, and I'm going to let my three dear friends who have become very dear friends introduce themselves, and hopefully you'll be doing the same with each other as we break into two groups of about 5 or 6 people.
I'm Imam Deen Mohammed II, and I use that Roman numeral II at the advice of the late leader of one of the largest Muslims, American indigenous to U.S. Conversions under his leadership, under my father's leadership, early back in 1975. And we're part of a much greater legacy that most of you all may know these next famous names that come from. Muhammad Ali, Minister Farrakhan, Malcolm X, the Honorable Elijah Muhammad, the teacher of all of those famous men, including my dad, Imam Wallace Muhammad, or Deen Muhammad, which is a name. His name came about in a way before he was born. Elijah Muhammad's teacher, which the Nation of Islam was more of a social reform movement, a black movement for social reform for African American people within religion. Imam Muhammad, through his 33-year career, he passed in 2008, became a foremost leader in religious reform and a scholar of the Quran and Bible, and met many and made many strong relationships, including this one with the Department of World Religions, which led to me. There's some history behind the Nation of Islam where he was looked at, you know, because when Africans were reflecting on Africa, the positive image they had of kings and queens in Africa, and great history and wealth, the Kush people known, and Muslims and scholars in Timbuktu, and African greatness. So Elijah's teacher and himself, I don't know how it came about, but I did hear through rumors that the family, Muhammad's family, became the royal family. So just as my father was raised by many of the elders in his community to believe that one day he would be raised and groomed to serve his father's followers, the same for me. And more or less formal, I guess, guidance and tutelage, it was more so community and just hope, you know. So my love for the people that showed me love gave me the faith to believe in myself and to, you know, not run from this challenge. And, you know.
And what I want to do, given our limited time, you'll notice when you get a handout later, we were originally going to do an hour-and-a-half workshop. So when I found out that was not possible, I had enough time to re-represent this as a mini workshop. So we're going to work in a compact way, and the thing is that I will be here the entire week. So any follow-up discussion about any aspect of our relationship, what we've produced together, what impacts we've had, what work we have going forward, and some of the vision we have, the three of us in our respective communities. I will be happy to be available, as will my colleagues, until they have to go back for their traditional Sunday, monthly Sunday gather, which they'll tell you about. And yours tomorrow, your special one about your father will be what time?
It's It's on the website.
Yeah, it's on the website.
I'm not certain, but 3 o'clock, we're gonna do, it's on the evolution of a community, which I gave you pretty much the beginning of that community.
And we have
Yeah.
flyers that, if you will, you'll get today's flyer and tomorrow's flyer.
Yeah, we have tomorrow's flyer.
So you'll have some beginning handouts and takeaways, and we hope this is just a very, very beginning of a relationship. So we see this an acquaintanceship, encounter, and hope you don't see more than or less than that. Imam Elam.
Real quick, my name is Imam Mohammed. I was blessed to be on the board of trustees of the Mosque Ministry of Imam Mohammed under his father, Imam Deen Mohammed, and I'm on the board of trustees with him now. And real quickly, in a historical perspective, we represent 83 years of the evolution of pure al-Islam here in America, starting in 1930. But really, when about
33 years of pure Islam.
yeah, thank you. 33 years of pure Islam.
We're trying to give you a sample of how we really operate. And we hope you'll share the same style of directness with a smile when we're wrong.
Thank you. And real quick, when African slaves were brought over here, 50% of them were, around 50% were Muslim. And then the rest were animals, Christians. They did not allow Christian slaves to be brought over here. And so we really represent about 500 years of the freedom movement. It's called the freedom movement. Then they changed it to the civil rights movement. And now it's the human rights movement. So we're all together, and we're all within that.
Thank you, very well put. I didn't say much except my name. I was a member of B'nai Yehuda Beth Shalom, which is a small Reform temple in the south suburbs of Chicago. Before that, I was a member of KMIZ Israel in Hyde Park. So I was 46 years in Chicago. Before that, I was active in interreligious things through United Synagogue Youth, where I grew up in Cincinnati. So this interest in other religious traditions and approaches and bridge building and partnership. And of course, all of us at this age are part of the civil rights era and the anti-war era, and all of that comes together for me and my colleagues in the Jewish community. I was active with the Religious Action Center of the Reform Movement in Washington, D.C., done some work with Rabbi Saperstein and Mark Plavin, and one of my close new friends, Reverend Zook, Lisa Zook, is sitting here, and from Chicago Theological Seminary, which has a long history from United Church of Christ of social gospel and activity in this world from that progressive Christian perspective. So these are all our friends and a mission that we hold close and dear, and we tend to find each other. I think you have found in your own experience. So with that, I'd like to divide the room into two groups. We were going to do some small group work. So we're about equal on each side. So if we could build two circles, one here and one here, and hopefully you don't know too many in your group. Yeah. Hopefully the people in your group, okay, if you're married, we'll let it fly. In a real workshop, we would break you up. We want you to be in groups. Matter of fact, break up. Be in the group that you knew the least people. Okay? Self-police yourself. That you're good in the group. Some of them are attached. And we'll get this group as close to the wall. We're going to get this group as close to the wall as possible. So, come over this way, please.
My name is Asana.
Yeah.
Rachel.
And they sort of pop out.
Oh, really? Oh, and I'm from North Carolina. I live in North
I
Carolina.
actually only knew about 5 or 6. We're greater than us. I've got 45 minutes, we're in charge.
Oh, sure.
Okay, we've got, wonderful, okay. Okay, so, regardless if you're an experienced workshopper or not, we're going to ask each group to have a reporter. So pick a reporter in about 10 seconds, and I'll pass out a piece of paper. Hopefully the reporter has a pen. Or you can share a pen.
I was gonna say, whoever has a pen
I
is
can.
really elected.
Do we have a reporter?
Thank you.
Okay, one reporter, and you want to find the reporter over there?
Oh, she's already got.
Oh, that's great. My friend that I met just yesterday, Ann. Okay, thank you.
Have your little sheet.
Yeah, okay.
That's kind of where I am. I want to take my own notes. There we go.
Why don't we just split it in half?
Please join us.
Have to.
Imam Elam is passing out 6 guidance questions. You don't have to follow them. We believe in an open process, but we also believe in a non-judgmental process. So we can hear, we can be open, we can take in whether we agree or disagree. So these guiding questions, if they don't inspire you or you don't like them, we're not offended. If you want to use any of them, fine. Remember, our particular neighbors in faith started by an introduction by our Jewish friend Walter Ruby, formerly of the Foundation for Ethnic Understanding, who knew both of us. And it was his judgment that the mosqueers and the temple in the south suburbs of Chicago had important things, community things, ritual things, religious things that would enrich both of them. And he was right. And that's how our relationship grew 2 years ago. And since then, we've had multiple pulpit exchanges, social justice, work together. I invited the mosqueers to belong to a big interfaith group, which they were selected to. I schlepped them here to the Parliament of the World Religions, where this guy found out we knew his father was active. And they made him a trustee emeritus, and he's never been here before. But that's only for the people here. Don't let that go out of the room, okay? And what we'd like you to do is take about the next 10 minutes. You'll have a very brief time to get an acquaintanceship. We don't call a relationship anything but a relationship until it's been tried and tested. Over agreements and disagreements, over logistics, over all of the stuff that go into planning together and engaging people in communities that are neighbors, but really weren't engaged with each other. Really didn't have a relationship where it was part of their life. And a part of their life that they chose is they experienced the work together. B'nai Yehuda Beth Shalom and the Mosqueers, our first book, just to give you an idea, was on tyranny by Tom Snyder. I brought it up and no one vetoed it in our planning group. You are both planning groups, so your work begins now. You are a planning group in a community, so if you can envision, no matter where your congregations are, you were close enough in proximity, you were interested in learning more about their faith and history, faith tradition, their work. You had some inkling they were open and people that you could collaborate with on the things that your faith community valued and explore things your faith community had differences on. but still build that close relationship. And picture yourself in the olden days, before internet and all this stuff, where you lived on a block and your neighbors became extended family. But they didn't become extended family because they were down the street or next door necessarily, because they proved it. Of their acts, their time, their sharing, their sorrows, their celebrations. You became part of their life, they became part of yours. So each planning group is bringing your best sense of your own life experience of how to facilitate that kind of rich neighbors in faith. Please continue. Take some more. I know. That's what.
Which is one of the new science we are mostly exercise. And I joined that. It found me. So some of these questions are interesting how that local, regional, religious, national, interfaith relationship in 1995 and now for love. I think that's and I felt at home.
Oh, I see. Then they want to stay.
And also I work
before. Oh, okay. Great, thank you.
Catholic Archdiocese.
Learned about science of mind.
I'm in that tradition.
Okay, people want to hang out.
Which is
Just really felt connection.
I'm ready to become
Never
I'm
felt
also
like
interested in this.
That's how life works.
Local work, we do assist in parishes that have interest in getting.
I wrote a thesis that I directed interreligious institute at Chicago Theological Seminary in Chicago. I'm also an ordained minister in the United Church of Christ, and partnered with Brian, who's one of our facilitators on a number of initiatives in Chicago. Luckily, I never thought that I would be a minister, so I actually grew up in an atheist household, and so when I come back to my childhood, it was full of religious experiences with my various friends who had different religious traditions, because I do sleep over at their homes, and then Friday night it was Shabbat service with my Jewish friend, right? And Saturday or Sunday mornings, who knows what church I might be in. And I was able to, it was like an anthropological study as a child, because people had these rituals and they said things and they knew what to say and they knew what to do. And I was, asking my friends, why are we doing this? And, my 8-year-old friends were like, I don't know. Because 15 minutes from now we get pancakes, Asking these deep questions. And then as I became older, I did my own sort of spiritual wandering and trying on new identities. And eventually, after a long period of time, it was that I found myself falling into, which is as the way
Can
it
each
resonated
group,
most with me.
in 30 seconds, orient our 2 new members to Neighbors in Faith?
So I'm Claire Newman, and I live outside Chicago. I'm a Roman Catholic. I'm a minister, but I'm not a lay minister, but I am a lay minister, and I'm the vice president of mission ministry at Dominican University, which is a Catholic university of about 3,000 students. Sorry. Dominican. And part of my role there is I'm the chair of our interfaith.
Carol raised a question, I'm gonna record the question.
6 years ago, our university became actively engaged with a strategic partnership with the Interfaith Youth Corps, whose mission is to try to make interfaith cooperation a social norm in the United States. We now see this work as part of the Catholic identity of the institution to create
an institution rooted in the values of the institutional faith tradition that is welcoming and hospitable to the faiths of all of our students. And I was intrigued to come to this because I'm now on the board of the Committee of Congregations, the interfaith organization.
And that's fine. And I want you to put on your planning group mentality. It's great you're hearing each other's biographies and activity lists. This is not a criticism of anything, but we want you to have this notion of the very first time we met. I need to tell you this anecdote. We're at Panera Bread in Homewood, Illinois. I had done the outreach to meet with folks, a person or two from the mosque. They showed up with 5 people. I came alone. They checked me out on Google to see my history. They brought up stuff I didn't even know that was listed out there in the cyber land. And then we started laughing, and we knew we had something we could build on. But I wasn't expecting. So what I want you to fantasize is that this is a large planning group, that you're all living in one community for the next part of your sharing. How would you begin thinking, looking at calendars, whether you'd like to do a study group, whether you'd have a pulpit exchange, whether you want to do a social justice thing, whether there's something you need to be in solidarity because there's an active Islamophobia or anti-Semitism or anti-Christian bias in your community. Things that are meaningful to you personally and religiously, that draw you into your commitment, however you define that. And how would you bring that up on the agenda for exploration of how you could make it interreligious? So I'd like you to take the next 10 minutes to reflect, whatever your backgrounds, whatever your personal values are, of how you'd like your community to partner with a neighbor in faith to start demonstrating the give and take of an interreligious neighbor. Okay?
I'm very active in the interfaith
Yeah.
I appreciate
Well,
to meet you all.
Right, and we'll want to hear something about your background too.
You heard a lot
A
about
thought
what's
occurred
going
to
on.
me since I was the last one talking and got interrupted.
We have
I thought
chosen
it
the first
was
question
made
to start with,
one
kind
of
of just
the-
share who we are, as
One
we
of the
start
things we
with,
need
then
to
we'll
deal
work on
with as a
what
community
we
of
do,
faith
what's our next
is
steps,
the
as we
place
go
where
with the questions.
we heard about yesterday or whenever it was. So how we, as people of faith, as various ethnicities and whatever backgrounds, how do we deal with that as that kind of community? How would we work together?
Part of it would be
And I got involved with it as well.
How do we-
And for the
how do
past
we
9 years, I've been involved with
find out
about so I've been traveling like 19 different countries. And so now I'm working on a PhD
my experience.
in how to make students more just so that it sort of builds us up, that brings us together.
I mean, I am a clergy, retired.
I'm gonna take down about your one thing. Students.
I guess I've almost come to the point where I trust the clergy. There's a book out by Stephen.
I'm an ecumenical and interreligious officer for the church called the Christian Center of Science.
Oh, that's
basically Canada.
And when I
And
was
also
10,
a part of the
so
shoulder campaign too.
before the first election.
I've been really pushed my church to think about our pluralistic society and how we should come to our interfaith neighbors. And I was a pastor at a very small congregation in Kentucky for a while, like about 10 years. And it was a very interesting experience for me. It's a very old church, 220 years old church. Never ever called someone who has a background like me. I grew up in Korea and exposed to many different religions. And so whenever I work at a and my name level, I always think about my congregation, my small congregation, and how I can, their help when they engage in
William Covenant, I'm a Christian. I'm a member of the Dialogue Institute Board of Directors at Temple University in Philadelphia.
I would just suggest that
I've traveled the West Africa, trying to get to the local Dialogue Institute. And then if you ask, I think that there's another issue.
or if you don't bring it up, it's the same problems, the issue of
Swami,
that's a better way to
Moral
approach
Temple, the Tibetan Temple, the Unitarian Church. I worship in a conservative Christian church that worship service on
It's not
Sunday.
any fun, because the response you get is not.
I try to get involved in dialogue.
Let's talk about it. It's like,
Swami, I see that.
But what, I don't, I'm not so much topics as I am, so I'm fortunate in business, and I was surprised how easy it was. I mean, I went and did a corporate thing, where a company hired designers to work with their staff, issues in the company. And it was amazing. So it was products, instead of strangers, their boss or somebody. It's just a simple question.
Something, I'm just putting it out there.
So last week, we started like that, and then
Because our actually our
3 or 4 minutes, we got to the issue that when they were there, but then they were the ones to introduce the issues, and I just sat back.
when they have Easter, we serve the meal, and we have great
That's
fast,
another
they serve the
bigger
meal,
approach.
and now we are also looking at some communities.
That's really.
Maybe it wouldn't necessarily work with older. So I'm just Deen, I'm a social worker in
Exactly.
I work
We
in
talk about Palestine.
I work as a social worker in Islamic
Well,
and
this is,
here in Toronto. So one of the things that I've tried to do with the Muslim kids.
I like the question that.
And now you move it to the next person.
How many of us for a moment have been a child or a parent or a father or mother say, hold that thought? So I just said it. So those of you that can stay beyond 4 o'clock, you're welcome. We'll try to resume. We'll be available. Those that need to go somewhere else, please come up and take that. But before you go, because we have a few minutes, not minutes, we'd like the reporter to come to the front of the room and share what some of the things that were significant for their group went on in their group and vice versa. We're going to take the reporter notes, and those of you that like a copy of it, please put your name and email the next week or two. So those of you would like to get what the reporters wrote and any other contact with us, please come up here and record what you need so we can contact you. So we'll consider this sort of a break for 3 to 5 minutes, and those of you that can stay, we'll go on. So reporters, if you could bring up your work.
Yeah, I have this one, and you have the other one, Imam. This one,
And those that need to, probably the last thing, those that need to leave, consider this just a very beginning with each other, and we will, yeah. Oh, yes.
No, you're great, yeah.
Thank you. Appreciate it.
Did you get this one right here?
If you want to,
Yeah, just tell
however you want to do it.
Oh.
So those of you who are able to stay here longer and like to see the notes from the other group, let's take a look together. And when we convene in a minute or two, maybe we'll break into a large group.
Do you want us to give our reports before we go, or you want to just?
I would like you, but I want to respect the time limit.
Right.
So let's sort of play it the air, see how many folks.
So I'm not gonna stay, so I'll
Okay.
give my report now, or
Okay.
I'll
Okay.
let.
Sure. Sure, we're informal, this,
There's a facility downtown.
yeah.
I'm not.
Same mark, same mark.
And all I.
So we'll see, we're exploring, but yeah, if something's opening up, if the schedule and the other things we're committed to, the Swift would be the people.
Are you both with the phone?
I'm glad you came, I'm glad you did. It's easier than problematic.
Phone's better than email.
Yeah.
Personal friend.
Always. So you can get the whole.
You go back there.
I'll be here.
I go back, I bill whenever I write it. What's your,
215.
And right now, that's the best place.
And this is the term of this one, the single circuit, and then the power relation.
They're fairly open, so they don't try anything.
This is the American reform. I should go with this. I said, this is
Oh, yes.
very honest. Because what I really do is
My colleague, friend, contractor, he and I go visit these different groups.
We're not gonna be here more than.
You want to take that so I can bring that up?
Absolutely.
I think that's
Is this the first time? Toronto?
In Toronto.
When are you leaving?
You know, we mentioned email.
I keep my eye on the Toronto news.
Last convention,